All right, guys. So this is going to be a midweek update on the Euro USD, and I kind of want to make a an analysis going into Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday of this week, and what we're looking for, what I'm looking for um, to take place in order for us to capitalize on big up moves and down moves. Right? We always want to have a kind of like not a definite conviction of one direction, but we always want to take a look at both directions of what could possibly happen so that we can be prepared and take advantage of the upcoming moves, right? So, um, if you've seen my if you've been following me and seen my updates or on the Euro USD and what I'm looking for, the last thing I posted was we were looking for a big move to the upside. Now, I did go long. I don't know exact number. I think 1.07 30 or might be 25, one of those. And I was saying that we should expect some kind of like move to the upside, and I'll get that in a second. But there's two ways we could look at this market right now. Just from just eyeballing it, right? Once we made this base over here, we had this nice run, bullish run into the new year. We came down and tested this level. Now, again, if anybody's been following me, for you guys who see that I've always put emphasis on these levels, this is a pivotal zone that I pay attention to. Um, Let me draw that out. Okay, so this zone right over here came back to test it, and now it came back to test it around it again, and then made a big run to the upside. So I posted that I'm looking for a big move to the upside, maybe up here to 1.11. And one of the things that I'm kind of wary of is this gap right here. Is this market gonna, push all the way back down and try to fill this gap, or are we gonna make a big move up? Now, I was bullish, so I took this position up here, and you can see we made this strong move to the downside, but really the euro just ended up flat. Even though the stock market across the board was very much bullish today, but you could see this nice candle over here that just pretty much didn't do anything. It was a bearish fake out and then closed pretty much flat. So going into tomorrow, if I take a look at the weekly chart, you guys can see right over here. You may not be familiar with this pattern, but this is called a broadening pattern or an expanding wedge. And I've always talked about this book called the Encyclopedia of Chart Patterns. This is where I learned this pattern, and it's very much bullish. And there's one of three things that can happen. Once the move breaks out, okay, sometimes we get a swift move straight up to about 50% of the move. I use a Fibonacci to calculate what would be either 55%, or I'm sorry, 50%, 55%, or 62%. And again, I round my Fibonacci numbers. I know it's mainly known as 61.8, but I like to round it to 62%. And I'll quickly just draw that for you. I just take my Fibonacci from the very top of the pattern all the way to the bottom. I drag it down. I use the magnet tool to give me an accurate reading from the very top to the very bottom. Now, usually we got to that 50% right over here. Okay, after we made that nice bullish run, the market found a really strong resistance around that 50%, pull back all the way to that main pivot, and now it's attempting to try to go to back up at least halfway from that. So, you know, it can go straight up, maybe about 55%, 62%. What usually happens though, we usually get a pullback after the breakout because we see people start buying in this area and the market washes them out by pulling all the way back and then continuing up, right? So it would be kind of like let me remove this real quick so the chart's more clear. If I remove this and I get a drawing tool like this. So we get a move like this, a pullback, and then a continuation, right? That would be known as like a 1, 2, 3 move. in the market, and that's like a trend continuation where again it go like this and continue higher, right? So if we remove that, sometimes, like I just mentioned before, the market just could just keep on go straight up right into the zone, right? Could make a strong bullish run. But sometimes what I've seen happen is that the market will break out, it'll pull back, and then it will go make a deep retracement. Now, in this case, I would be looking, if it did retrace, I would be looking around that 1.001, around this zone right over here, which is a median level that I talk about in my other videos. So if we do get a deep retracement, then I would be looking for a buy right here, right? But in this case, we don't know what's going to happen yet. So you can see once we broke out, we pulled back into that pivot zone. It's making an attempt to make the run back up. Now, here's the thing. We have this strong support over here from way back of April, May 2020. Market broke through that in 2022, hit that resistance, and then kept on going to the downside. Now, once we pulled right back up into this zone, we closed above it, and the market attempted to keep on going higher, but it pulled back. Now, is this level going to be seen as resistance now and then make a move lower? Or are we going to get back above this and then continue higher to this next zone, which I keep saying 1.11? And the reason why I say that is because we have a short-term median level here. Or if we extend, the bullish run extends, then I'll be looking for this long-term median level up at 1.14, between 1.15 and 1.16, somewhere up here. Okay. So if we drill down back to the daily chart, you can see this is we bounced up once over here and then bounced again right here at that pivotal zone. And I should have bought back here. I don't know why I didn't, but the markers were there, right? We were at the strong support zone coupled with a MACD hidden divergence. Again, I call it a trend continuation divergence because that's what it is. And then we also kind of made a regular divergence right over here. So this was our hidden divergence from this bottom to this bottom. And then from here to here was kind of like a regular divergence. And it made the case to be really bullish and continue to the upside. Now, I talked about this on, well, it was mostly on my YouTube channel, but if we were looking to get long, it would be around here, and the market didn't convince me that it wanted to go lower if it couldn't trade below 1.055. It kept bouncing here. Now, what do we want to look for in terms of resistance? Well, not really resistance, but I guess you can say a level to be wary of and to watch for just in case you're on the long side like myself. The one case is that we have a gap here. We don't know if the market's going to try to close that. Sometimes gaps can stay open for a very long time, so you don't always want to go by that. But if you guys remember, the couple of posts ago, I made a trend line, which I always take from resistance to support in this case, and we had this nice resistance, one over here and one over here, and then we made that nice move to the downside. Now, are we going to attempt to push back up into this level again and then fall over? So even though I'm bullish right now, I want to see what happens up here. Okay, we have this one case where this trend line would show resistance and the market has been respecting it. Now, if I go back and I just do like a replay, you can see the market respected that. Here, resistance came down. Now I'm wondering if the market is going to try to make its way all the way back up there into this trend line again. Okay, so that's one thing that I'm watching for. Another thing I'm watching for is that I'm always looking at new trend line levels to give me some accurate levels for me to either take a short, take profit, or go long. And I always talking about you always have to evolve with the market, right? One trend line is not always going to be relevant. The market's not always going to respect the same trend line, so you have to adjust for when the market makes new highs, new lows, and then you have to kind of like start eyeballing it to see what levels you can kind of pay attention to or kind of wait for the market to validate it. So in this case, I found another level here, this very bottom to this resistance. Okay. And you can even make the case that this is a level here. I know the market was trying to find resistance. If I take this bottom and I take the trend line to this bottom, you can see the market's finding resistance there. You see that? But even though the market pushed all the way down and the bulls try to take this much lower, I mean, I'm sorry, the bears try to push this down and the bulls brought this back up, showing some strength. So I don't think this one will hold, although it might, right? You never know. But um, I think this would be a more relevant, a more accurate trend line. Now, to me, this is confluence up in this level because, again, you have this median level, this long-term median level, this dotted line here, where the market found support here. And you know what? Let me draw this out, or I can highlight it. I might take a rectangle here. The market respected it here. And then the market respected it here twice, along with that trend line. Now, the question is the market going to attempt to jump up and test these levels again in that same area? Okay. If we look at Forex Factory, excuse me, if we look at Forex Factory, tomorrow we got core PPI numbers, right? We got retail sales. Going into Thursday, we got not USD market data, but we have Euro ECB press conference, right? You have the monetary policy statement, and then on Friday you have the consumer sentiment, and then this is preparing for going to next week, which we have FOMC, the funds rate, interest rate, and the FOMC press conference where Jerome Powell makes his comments about the economy and how the market's doing, right? So that's might have a big impact on what's going to happen, at least for another trend starting out on the Euro USD, because of course there's that threat right now with bank failures, Silicon Valley, that bank going under. There's a lot of stuff going on. It's reminding me a lot of 2008. So you have to be prepared for the potential of huge volatility in the market and what could potentially happen, right? So if I remove these levels here, I want to see if we're going to make a push higher into this level and the market either going to push above this or it's going to stall out right here. I would say somewhere about 1.08 and 1.0830. Somewhere in here, I would pay attention to that. If the market's finding weakness, I'm just going to look to just get out of the market and I'd rather wait. Or if I start seeing weakness coming in, then I might attempt to go short, and then this long trade is invalidated, right? Because again, this can go to, if it falls over and if we test this level again, this pivot level, I think it's going to crack and it's going to continue lower. Even though here we have that strong, uh, that bullish bounce right over support, and we got over these levels. I just don't like the fact that it cracked right below it. And here's one test, try to make another run, and then it made another strong move, and then it found another bounce right over here. So if we make another push up to this upside, I would be very careful around here if this market is going to continue higher or if it's just going to fold over and just completely, collapse to the downside. I have my stops in managing risk, and maybe we don't even get up here. Maybe we just start pushing lower right from here where we are now. But I think that the market might attempt to make a push and then fold over and then come right back down here to fill this gap, right? So that's going to be my analysis for the Euro USD going in for the rest of the week. Again, these are the levels starting from here. These are the points. I'll show you right over here. Okay, here's the starting point here. Found support here. That nice double resistance here, and we have to watch to see if the market's going to attempt to come down a little bit and then push back up into this zone again. And then it's either going to push hard or it's going to roll over and just completely, collapse. And I can draw that out real quick. Okay, we make a push to the upside and then it just rolls over and then keeps on going down. Or we make a really strong push to the upside, come back down here, and then continue higher. Okay, so that's something that I'm going to keep an eye on, especially going into next week, that we have the FOMC meeting, which is always a very important meeting in terms of economic projections and what we can look forward to in terms of the price action. So with that said, I hope you guys enjoy this video. Always manage your risk and, take your time. You don't have to go crazy and try to hit a home run on every trade. And the name of the game is to, you know, manage your losses because you're going to have losses. It's just part of trading. And the whole point is to win and make more profit you know, than you lose, basically. It's easier said than done, but the way you do it is by managing your risk and always looking both sides of the market, right? Once you're fully 100% convinced that the market's going to go one way, sometimes it just does a complete 180. And it's not necessarily because you didn't view things the right way or the wrong way. It's just the market made a turn, basically. So you always have to be able to take the hits and always look for the big moves so that you can come out ahead in the long term. So with that said, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video again, and I'll see you in the next market recap.